Hello, good people of YouTube. Sealord here, and today a dev blog was released where some of the most definitely needing ships get some much needed buffs. Now, this is not quite the list I was expecting. If you guys didn't follow the news a little while ago, a huge list of buffs was announced for the Russian client, and I thought maybe eventually those buffs would find their way here, but unfortunately they did not, so far at least. However, these buffs are much needed to the ships that are receiving it, and there's one ship in particular that's going to make the weebs quite happy, and you're going to see the resurgence of a certain meme in chat, shall we say. But let's go ahead and dive right on into this. If you want to read along as I read aloud, a link to this is in the description down below. We can check that out for yourself. So, just going from the top. Balance changes public test 12.11. We're applying balance changes to the following ships based on an analysis of both their combat statistics as well as player feedback. Renown, Yadachi, Marlborough, Adriatico, and Alvaro de Bazan. Additionally, we are applying changes to the test ship Monmouth based on testing results. So they start off with the Renown, the Tier 6 British battleship. Her reload time is being buffed from 25 to 23.5 seconds base, and her firing range is being increased. Her stock range will now be 15.8 up from 15.4, and her upgraded range will be 17.4 up from 16.9. So a nice half a kilometer increase on the range and a whole second and a half buff on the reload. That's something that ship did most certainly need, and that's going to make her way more comfortable than she was. The Renown, the stock Renown is very, very mediocre. The Renown 44, on the other hand, is very, very excellent. So, yeah, this is definitely something that was most needed from the Renown's point of view. And up next, the Japanese destroyer Yadachi. She's the Tier 7 Premium Destroyer. Her torpedo speed is being increased from 57 to 64 knots, making her torpedoes actually usable. So the Yadachi, when she first came out, she was not good, putting it mildly, which is really funny because apparently on, I think it's Legends or Blitz, the Yadachi's like borderline overpowered, which is not the same ship, right? But 64 knot torpedoes is a huge pickup from 57 knots. 57 knots, I mean, it sounds fast, but like in game, it's quite slow for torpedoes. I mean, shoot, 55 are considered, slightly mobile sea mines, right? So 64 is a good pickup. And the issue with the Yadachi torpedoes is that they're spotted from the moon and they're slow. Well, they used to be slow at 57 knots. So an increase to 64 knots makes them quite a bit more usable. I think a decrease to their detection would also very much help, or maybe they might plan on increasing their speeds even more. But yes, the torpedoes are much more comfortable to use with these changes, if they go through. And given how bad the Yadachi's been performing, I'm pretty sure they will. If you guys don't know, one of the big statistics that they do look at is how many players are playing these ships. So if they see that a bunch of people have Yadachi, but like 5% are playing her, they will buff the ship regardless, right? That's one of the metrics that they use. So yeah, big pickup here for the Yadachi. Glad to see that ship is getting a much needed buff that it does certainly deserve. Alright, and going into the ship that you're watching in the background, the Marlborough, the British Tier 9 Premium Battleship. The HE is being changed. Maximum damage is being increased from 4,800 to 5,500 for the HE Alpha, and the fire chance is being buffed by 4% up to 28% from 24%. So the Marlborough is a ship that is pretty good in my opinion in the right situation. If you can get a map where you have some island cover and you can get behind that island and basically be, God's strongest British heavy cruiser, it works pretty well. But the second you have to actually like put yourself out there, the thing gets absolutely dumped on. The armor is terrible, and the gun angles are even worse. So if you want to get all of your guns on target, you have to be showing enough flat broadside to where you can and will get citadeled. So either, and I believe they did increase her or buff her heal, I believe, not that long ago. So that was a big up for the Marlboro. And now giving her some more better, if you will, guns. That's pretty good. I mean, shoot, another, what's that? 700 alpha per shell, considering she has 16 guns. That's pretty darn good. And a 4% increase in her fire chance, again on a ship that has 16 guns, is excellent as well. So adding more into that high reward part of that high risk, high reward gameplay for the Marlboro. And the guns are by no means accurate, right? There's 16 guns, and you might land, if you're lucky, you might land 6 on target, right? If you get a really good roll, you'll land 9 on target, So a ship that definitely don't see a lot of, and most certainly needs the buffs. Keep in mind too, again, this is a ship that you could absolutely just catch its broadside with even a large heavy cruiser and murder it. So again, adding more of that reward part to the high risk, high reward gameplay of the Marlboro. Alright, going down to the Adriatico, the tier 9 Italian tech line destroyer. She's getting a buff to her reload down to 5 seconds from 5.4 seconds, which is good. The last buff they gave to the Regalo, the tier 10, it was much needed, but it's still like, I don't know, the Italian DDs, the higher tier ones, they had to neuter the reload time because of the SAP alpha, and it still just isn't quite there yet. I think they'll need some more tuning in the future for sure, but it's nice to see that they're heading in the right direction, right? You got to get there, so these gradual decreases in reload time will eventually get us there. The lower tier ones, if you don't know the Italian DD line, like tier 6, 7, that's like the sweet spot, because the SAP alpha is so powerful at those tiers that you just kind of murder everything. But as the higher tier ships get larger guns, the SAP reload obviously is quite insane, so you have to nerf the reload because of the alpha, and it just gets over DPM'd by the other destroyers of its tier when you get to these higher tier Italian DDs. So, yep, definitely a much needed change there. Then the Bazan, the tier 10 Spanish DD. The main battery reload time has been reduced to 5.5 seconds, and the burst fire reload has been reduced to 21 seconds from 24 seconds. Another ship that you really don't see too many of. I think the last time I saw one was in, I think clan battles or even COTS, and that's being used on a team that has a very specific plan for it and knows the ship's strengths and weaknesses and such. But as far as like random battles goes, I really cannot remember the last time I saw a Bazan in random battles, because it's really a light cruiser in a DD slot, and it really doesn't hit, in my opinion. It's just a little lackluster in the firepower department. So again, buffs to the firepower is a good thing for the Bazan. And the burst fire reload, man, I really think they could have just done away with that and given it a decent reload time or like a heal. And it would have been a much better DD than trying to fit that burst fire gimmick in there that they're trying to make the Spanish thing. But I guess that's what they want to do with the Spanish line, make them the burst fire line, if you will. So once you're committed to the gimmick, you're kind of stuck there, right? Alright, and then the Monmouth, the British tier 10 cruiser that's still in testing. So her reload time has been reduced from 18.5 to 15.5 seconds. Pretty big pickup there. The firing range has been increased from 16.9, nice, to 19.8 kilometers. Ooh, and she no longer has HE. So the AP shells are getting a tune-up then. Their maximum alpha has been increased from 5,750 to 6,200 flat. The arming threshold has been reduced from 39 to 25 millimeters, and they've given the improved ricochet angles. So yeah, the British AP thing. The shell penetration has been significantly improved, and the ballistics altered to have a considerably flatter trajectory. So yeah. But the deck armor has been reduced from 40 millimeters to 30 millimeters of armor. The HP, oh man, wow. The repair party consumable has been nerfed. The HP restoration per second has been reduced from 1188 to 297. The action time was increased, though, from 20 to 28 seconds. And the charges were increased from 2 to 3. So they took away the super heal and gave it a normalized heal. I haven't played the Monmouth, not a super tester, not a CC, and I can't speak about it because I haven't experienced it. And even if I was a super tester or a CC, I couldn't talk about it anyway. So, yeah. So some good changes in my mind, especially with the ships that have already been released. So the Renown, big ups for the Renown, big ups for the Yudachi, big ups for the Marlborough, big ups for the Adriatico, and big ups for the Bazan. Monmouth, it's more of a retooling than, you know, outright buffs or nerfs, right? So interesting that they're trying to put it more into the normal-ish cruiser side of things, but with British cruiser AP. So yeah, no, I'm excited to see what this does. Marlborough is a ship I always enjoyed playing because I always saw it as a kind of a dumb ship, right? Like, it's got 16 guns, it's got decent HE, that's what you're supposed to do with it, but now it's going to have actually pretty good HE, so we'll see what happens with that in the future. So let me know what you guys think in the comments down below about these changes. Just leave your thoughts down there and share it amongst the crowds. If you did enjoy the video, make sure to drop a like, leave a comment, subscribe to the channel and the second channel, which I have started, if you enjoy behind the scenes footage and all that jazz. But anyway, guys, hope you guys have a wonderful Friday and a wonderful weekend. Hope to catch you guys in the next one.